Judge Hurley could have avoided a lot of the stuff that has happened to my family by giving a decision instead of saying he had no jurisdiction over the case, even though he had already put out the agreement as a court order. He just made things worse. After this so-called judge issued that crazy finding, the neighbor's wife to the east filed for divorce. After my attorney filed in common pleas court, the neighbor's wife to the east dropped her divorce case. Her and her husband then filed bankruptcies for the second or third time. After 9 months to a year later, that bankruptcy fell through because the neighbors did not follow the bankruptcy agreement. The divorce then happened. It is kind of unusual that the mother who the underage child is living with must pay, in this case, $650 a month to her ex-husband for spousal support for 71 or 72 months, and the ex-husband must pay $300 or $350 a month for child support. So the mother is the one on the losing end, which in the case of Hurley's court is very rare, because he usually gives custody to the mother even when it has been documented that the mother has been abusive to children, or they are druggies, or other things. That has been a problem with Judge Hurley here in Beavercreek. So by him saying that this wife must pay $650 is kind of unusual for this to happen, for him to do that. So the mother is the one on the losing end. The house is in foreclosure. The husband lives in the house, and according to county records, he does not pay the taxes on the house or make any payments on the house. The best thing the ex-wife did was get away from her ex-husband. I went to high school with her father, and both her mother and father are good people, and they have told me that their daughter is a very good person too. After the divorce, both the ex-wife and my family decided to drop the case against each other in common pleas court. We still have the case pending against her ex-husband. This case was reopened when that bankruptcy fell through. The neighbor across the street is the main instigator in these problems. As I said before, he would go across the street and talk to the neighbors to the east and hide in his house to look out the window when the authorities or some other person came that he didn't want them to see him over at that house. I tried to avoid going outside to work in my front yard and when either neighbor was at home. If I had work in my front yard and the neighbor across the street was home or came home, he would come out in his front yard and stand there and watch me or my sons and make grunting noise and loudly whispering profanity to try and get a reaction. I would like to clear something up at this time. All the statements I've made to this point can be backed up with pictures, videos, and documents. Also, this would include other statements that I am making. In 2011, the former police chief retired. A captain by the name of Dennis L. Evers was appointed police chief. This is the same Dennis L. Evers that was an officer in the 90s when he was accused of unethical conduct with young ladies under 18 in the backseat of police cruisers. It was investigated by a friend of his by the name of Scott Hadley, who is a former mayor of Beavercreek and is on the city council. This was in 96 or 1997 that Scott Hadley did the investigation. Scott Hadley owned a printing shop, and from his resume, he had never had any investigative training in his life. In 1997, he was not re-elected to a second term because the people of Beavercreek were upset with his investigation of that police officer. He was elected again in 2005 when a big push by his fellow political prostitutes helped him get back into the office as the mayor. In Beavercreek, when you are elected to the city council, whoever gets the most votes on the city council becomes the mayor. The Beavercreek City Council is supposed to be a nonpartisan elected body. This is the biggest joke in 3 counties. Scott Hadley has been in politics in Greene County since 1972. He is one of the main political prostitutes of Greene County. In 2005, when Hadley was elected to the Beavercreek Council after he had not been on the council since 1997 or early 1998, he had the endorsement of the Beavercreek Fraternal Order of Police for that election in 2005. And on that Fraternal Order of Beavercreek Police is a person by the name of Dennis L. Evers. This is the good old boys taking care of each other. Some of the city officials are or were members of the Beavercreek Rotary Club. In 2007, the city manager was replaced, and so was the police chief. The police chief from 2007 and 2011 was better than most. But as I mentioned, in 2011, Dennis L. Evers became the police chief. I've done some research of what happened with Dennis L. Evers in the 90s. In August 2011, after I talked with the city manager, Michael Cornell, the police chief approached me in the city parking lot of City Hall and told me in front of my wife that I better watch what I say. The Beavercreek Council, the city manager, and some of the city police in Beavercreek are not only politically biased, they do not care about the citizens of this city. Also, Dennis Evers told my attorney on the phone that if I didn't watch what I say, he was going to have me arrested. Well, he has done it on some trumped up charges, which we have surveillance video on. And would you believe that his friend, the assistant city prosecutor, Betsy Dietz, is prosecuting, even though the video shows that there was nothing happened, that the assault was done on us, that we did not do an assault. This will come out later on. We have video of this that we will present, and we've also asked for a trial. So, and we probably will ask that this trial be moved to another county. Most of the city council members are just political prostitutes playing musical chairs. I have had cameras on a small, low table on my porch for the last 4.5 years. If I angle these cameras, the only thing I see is the roof of houses. I placed them low so that I would see only my fences and my mailbox. One camera sets at the side of my driveway. I put up a 6-foot fence to the west so my camera would not angle to my neighbors' windows who live on the west. I will continue this on the next video.